All right, today we're diving into one of the most powerful and, honestly, most misunderstood tools in the world of finance, options. The best way to think about them is as a double-edged sword. On one side, they can be an incredible tool for protection, but on the other, well, they can be incredibly dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
You gotta love Mark Twain, right? His point is that risk is just always there in the markets. It's a constant. But what if there were specific tools designed not to eliminate that risk, because you can't, but to manage it? That's really where our story kicks off.
I mean, that sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? But that is the fundamental promise behind one side of financial options. It's the idea that you can actually buy yourself some financial peace of mind, and we're going to break down exactly how that works.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get down the absolute core concept, the right, not the obligation. Then we'll look at how options work as a shield and then as a sword. After that, we'll dive into a wild, real-world cautionary tale and then wrap it all up with the final takeaway.
Let's get right into it. We have to start with the single most important idea you need to understand about options. Seriously, everything else we talk about flows from this one simple principle.
So what even is an option? At its heart, it's a contract that gives the person who buys it a choice. You get the right to do something, but, and this is the key part, you don't have to do it. You can just walk away. That flexibility, that choice, is what makes it so different from almost anything else in finance.
Okay, so the first type is a call option. The easy way to remember this is you buy a call when you think the price is going to be called up. You're optimistic. It gives you the right to buy something, like a stock, at a price you locked in today, even if the market price skyrockets later.
And on the flip side, you have a put option. You buy a put when you're pessimistic and you think the price is going down. It gives you the right to sell an asset at a pre-agreed higher price, even if the market price has totally tanked.
Now, this is where a lot of people get tripped up. They confuse options with another thing called futures, but they are totally different beasts. With a futures contract, both people are locked in. You are obligated to see the deal through. But with an option, the power is all with the buyer. The buyer has the choice, the right. The seller just has to wait and see. That's the absolute game changer.
Okay, now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about that double-edged sword. First up, using options as a powerful shield.
The easiest way to think about this is literally like an insurance policy. Just like you insure your car against a crash, you can use an option to insure your investments against a market crash. You pay a little bit of money up front, that's called the premium, and in return, you put a hard limit on your maximum possible loss.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, the most common strategy is called a protective put. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, you own some stock. Step 2, you're getting nervous. You think the price might drop. So step 3, you buy a put option. That put acts as a floor price. If the stock crashes, your put option gains value, canceling out your losses. You've basically bought a safety net for your investment.
All right, we've seen the shield. Now it's time to look at the other edge of the blade, the sword. This is the side of options you hear all the crazy stories about. This is where speculation comes in.
And it all comes down to one single powerful word: leverage. An option contract costs just a tiny fraction of the stocks it represents, so leverage lets you use a small amount of money to control a huge position. It's like a magnifying glass for your money. It makes the good times great and the bad times terrible.
And you can see that magnification effect right here. Let's say a stock you like goes up by 10%. Hey, that's a pretty solid return. But if you used an option because your initial investment was so much smaller, that same 10% move in the stock could translate to a 50% or even bigger return for you. But, and this is a huge but, that magnification glass works in reverse too. If you're wrong, you can lose your entire investment, and I mean fast. And that warning isn't just a theory. It brings us to a frankly jaw-dropping real-world story of what happens when the sword of leverage is used recklessly. This is the story of how one trader brought a 233-year-old bank to its knees. So picture this. It's the early 90s. A guy named Nick Leeson is a star trader for Barings Bank. He's making huge, secret bets on the Japanese stock market. Then, in January 1995, a massive earthquake hits Kobe, Japan, and the market moves violently against him. Instead of cutting his losses, he doubles down. And then he doubles down again, just praying the market will turn around. Spoiler alert, it didn't. By the end of February, the bank was gone.
And this quote from another trader at the time just absolutely nails the fatal flaw in his logic. He was treating the global markets like a roulette wheel, thinking if he just kept doubling his bet, he'd have to win eventually.
The problem, of course, is that his capital wasn't infinite. The bank's wasn't either.
So what was the final damage? Over $1 billion. And remember, that's in 1995 money. It was enough to bankrupt the Queen of England's personal bank. It's just a staggering, brutal reminder of how fast that sword can turn on you.
Okay, so after all that, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it all comes back to our main idea. You absolutely have to know the weapon you're choosing to pick up.
At the end of the day, an option isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool. As a shield, it's a brilliant way to manage risk. As a sword, it offers the potential for some incredible gains. But as the story of Barings Bank proves, if you wield that sword without knowledge and discipline, the results can be absolutely catastrophic. The difference is never the tool. It's the strategy and the mindset of the person holding it.
And really, that's the question to leave you with. Financial options are just a tool. But thinking about whether you'd use it as a shield or as a sword tells you a whole lot about your own approach to risk. Thanks for digging into this with me today.